Hi, everybody. It's Lynn Louise Wonders here, and I have another special guest with me here today. This is Reagan Snyder Smith. Reagan and I met each other at the Nature and Play Therapy Retreat training event that we had last year in North Georgia, and I've been following Reagan's work, and I'm really excited because she's going to be offering a webinar. She's done a number of in-person trainings, and now she's offering a webinar on the use of Legos in play therapy. And I wondered if you could talk to us a little bit about, it's going to be a live webinar, but then it'll be recorded and available for people to get after it's live, which is super. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what people will gain from getting that, either attending live or getting the recorded version, and specifically on how some of that information may translate to the telehealth that we're doing for child clients given this pandemic situation.
All right. Thank you for having me, Lynn. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate the resources that you put out and the community you have in the play therapy world. And I just was reading your last newsletter, and it was just about the connection and confidence and going back to our theoretical approaches. So I just wanted to say thank you for everything you do
Oh,
for our community.
sure,
Huge
sure.
fan. So
Mm.
it's an honor to be chatting with you. So the Lego play therapy is something that's pretty translatable for telehealth because most kids have Legos or blocks laying around their home. So there's a lot of activities that you can do in the playroom that are transferable to telehealth, and Lego challenge cards, building building something about how you're feeling, building a work. There's a lot of similar things with sand tray you can do with Legos with the storytelling. And I have a minifig here that's kind of like has her mask on.
Ah, I love it.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about how to Lego interventions in the playroom, but also how you can transfer some of those to telehealth. Also, we're also going to kind of talk about, I get lots of questions about kinds of Legos, how to store the Legos, how to clean the Legos, because it is tricky to keep, especially when we're going to go back to the playroom after this is over, sanitizing Legos, especially if you have like the classic Legos that are smaller. So we're going to talk about different storage options and that in the webinar, and then also go into a couple different theoretical approaches that use Legos, and then kind of dive into some interventions you can use in the playroom and with telehealth.
So I know you're going to be going into all of that in the training, and so I don't want you to do all that now. But I was just going to say I'm curious about the theoretical basis for utilizing Legos in terms of helping children with their process of healing and growing. And I wondered if you could just touch on just real briefly on a little bit of that in terms of the theory.
There's a lot of research about using Legos and play, and especially done by the Lego Foundation. And then there's also there's Dr. LeGolf is a psychologist, and he has 2 books out on using Legos with play. Mm-hmm. And so he has his research, which was primarily done with autism spectrum disorder clients, but a lot of those things are transferable to common disorders we see in the playroom.
Right.
Kind of talking about those modalities. And then there's also a model by Allison Thompson, and hers is called TheraBuild.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about some of her things also.
Wow. Great. And so there's something about the process of, well, just having raised 3 children myself, and 2 were very big Lego fans when they were little, and now they're young adults. But having been a mother of children that played with Legos, and then being a therapist that provides play therapy and having Legos in my playroom, I've seen the world that can be created there, that the child projects onto the Legos, and the process of the building, the creating, and just the tactile component and all of that. I can imagine. I haven't done your training yet, but I can imagine all the therapeutic value. And I'm curious to know, when you're working with children utilizing Legos, are you joining with, or are you staying pretty child centered?
That's a great question. I think you could do either, because often, if the child is immersed in their play and they're really creating their own world, I will step back and use more non-directive, child-centered approaches, and just kind of, name what they're doing, and
Yeah,
um,
reflecting and all that.
being
Yeah.
a mirror. Yeah,
Mhm.
being a mirror for them. And then there's also some, particularly, I've had some clients that are very internalized, and where we even work on learning how to play, and they're kind of not wanting to. They want some more directive in that. So you can also use some directive approaches, and especially with families and groups, you can use some more directive approaches to tell a story together with the Legos, or build something together with the Legos.
So it really
So
depends.
that's,
You can be prescriptive with it. It depends on what
yeah,
the client is presenting with. And definitely, I use Legos in family sessions as ways of increasing in connection. And I mean, because, literally the Legos are connecting with each other, which is symbolic of what we're trying to do with the family as
absolutely,
well. Sometimes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And Allison Thompson, in her Therabuild book, she just, because then sometimes the Legos fall apart, or they don't fit together, and it's kind of symbolic of the whole therapeutic process. When things fall apart, we rebuild and put things back together
Yeah.
there. So there's also um, a therapeutic symbolism in that process also.
I love that. And we'll definitely put links below, not only to your training, but also to those books, if people wanted to go and find the books that you
Absolutely.
referenced, the research around that. And I'm going to shift gears just a little bit, because everybody that I'm talking with, pretty much, I'm also asking about the topic of self-care for therapists during this time, because this time being this pandemic where we're all having to do telehealth, a lot of people for the very first time feeling kind of thrown in, and having to adapt. And I'm curious to know if you have anything that you've discovered is really helping you, because I know that you're at home working like most of us, and you have your own children. A lot of them have their own children, and it's a balancing act. What are you finding that's working to help you stay in balance?
Um, I That's a really great question, and I'm glad you asked it, because it gives me a little bit of time to reflect on what I am doing. I really am a huge fan of Kristen Neff and self compassion and her work. So I'm really trying to give that to myself and compassion to my family, because our stress levels are so high right now, and my kids are missing school, and I'm missing um, this work. And so everything is a new normal. It's like you have to think about everything that you're doing. It doesn't just come naturally, and anymore. So I'm really trying to give myself grace and compassion, on also extend that to my family. My family. Also, I've been doing kind of lots of reading, meditation, trying to get out every day outside, even just if it's just for a brisk walk around the block. Um, just really uh, taking care of myself, but also trying to stay present and grounded in the moments that I have with my family, because I am safe right now, and we are eating dinner together, we are playing board games together, we are doing activities together. I've played Legos with my son a whole lot too, and just being present and mindful in the moment when we're creating things. My two of my teenagers created a Lego Statue of Liberty. So we're just really being present, and trying to enjoy the time we have together while we're stuck at home.
I
So
love
that's
that.
been part of my self care. And so just being grateful and um, present with my family as
And
we're
being
going through this quarantine.
gentle, yeah, part of that self-compassion and being gentle with yourself, and the
Yes.
process and your humanness of this, and
Yeah.
that just goes such a long way. Well, thank you so much for spending this time with us today. I'm really excited about your training, and I'm excited for people to be able to attend. I believe actually you told me that that this particular training you're doing very soon is sold out. I just remembered. So I don't know if there will be any more seats live in the future or whatever, but we'll make sure that we provide all that information below so people can find their way to you.
Yeah, absolutely. It will be recorded and available for purchase after we are finished with it. So,
okay. Well, thank you so much, Reagan. Take good care of yourself.
Thank you.